Want to save and invest money tax-free? Then stick around. Hey everyone, and welcome to The Savvy Squaddie. In this video, we're talking about individual savings accounts, or ISAs. There is a lot to cover in this video, and so I've put timecodes in the description to help you navigate quickly to a particular part that you might want. So what is an ISA? It is an account that protects any interest or investment gains you might make from tax. In a regular savings account that you might have with your bank, the interest earned is actually classed as income and is subject to tax. However, thanks to the personal savings allowance, if you are a basic rate taxpayer, then you can earn £1,000 in interest from your savings each year and not have to pay tax. Although, at the time of recording, you would need around £150,000 in your savings before needing to even worry about paying this tax on any interest. So it's not an issue for most of us. But how does an ISA work? Essentially, you get an allowance of £20,000 per year to save and invest within an ISA. Any gains from this money are then tax-free. If you don't use up the allowance within a year, the remainder does not get carried over to the next year. It just resets back to £20,000. There are also a number of different types of ISAs, which I will go into in a minute, but this £20,000 covers them all. So you can't put 20 grand in each one. You'll have to split your money between them all if you want to diversify it. You can also only pay into one type of the same ISA per year. So you wouldn't be able to pay into an easy access cash ISA and a help to buy ISA within the same tax year, as they are both cash ISAs. But you can pay into a help to buy ISA and a stocks and shares ISA, as they are two completely separate types of ISAs. There are some other rules, but they are dependent on what type of ISA it is, and I will go into that when I cover that specific ISA. Which brings me on to my next point. What type of ISAs are there? There are 5 different kinds of ISAs, 2 of which I just mentioned, the cash ISA and the stocks and shares ISA, but there is also the lifetime ISA, innovative finance ISA, and a junior ISA. Firstly, let's go through the cash ISA. There are a few different options with the cash ISA, but they are all essentially the same as a regular old savings account. Different cash ISAs include an easy access ISA, which allows you to withdraw your money whenever you want with no penalty, but then there are fixed rate cash ISAs. And with these ones, the interest rates tend to be higher, but if you want to withdraw any of your money, you will then be charged a penalty. This type of ISA is if you don't require the money for a while. Don't get it if you regularly dip in and out of your savings. And lastly, the Help to Buy ISA is also a cash ISA. However, this is closed to new applicants, but if you already have one, you can still benefit from it. The Help to Buy ISA is for first-time buyers and is there to help with the mortgage deposit on the house with a value up to £250,000 or £450,000 if it's in London. You can save a maximum of £200 per month into it, and it offers a 25% bonus on your savings up to £3,000. So this means in order to get the full £3,000 bonus, then you'll have to save £12,000, which will take you up to 5 years if you save the maximum of £200 per month. You do get paid interest on this account as well, and you can still save money into the ISA after you've hit £12,000, but you will still only get 25% bonus on £12,000. Even though the Help to Buy ISA is closed, it will pay out the bonus until the 1st of December 2030 for those who still have it. So make sure you use it before then. Also, when it comes around to buying your house, your solicitor will apply for the bonus. You will actually never see that bonus go into your account. And if you're buying a property with your partner and they too have a Help to Buy ISA, then you can use both ISAs for the deposit on the same property and benefit from 2 bonuses. 2030 is quite a way off. And if you're waiting that long to buy a house, then perhaps the lifetime ISA will be a better option. You are able to transfer your existing Help to Buy ISA to a lifetime ISA if you want to. The lifetime ISA, or LISA, is the next type of ISA I'll cover. It allows you to save up to a maximum of £4,000 per year, tax-free, and this is part of your £20,000 ISA allowance you get every year. It is meant for first-time buyers, replacing the Help to Buy ISA, but it is also meant for retirement. It still offers interest on your money and a 25% bonus each year, which, if you pay the full £4,000 allocation, could see you get a maximum bonus of £1,000 each year. And the bonus also gets paid into your account, and not when you come to use it, like it does with the Help to Buy ISA. This also means that your bonus will also earn interest. There is no £12,000 limit like the Help to Buy ISA, but instead the LISA keeps paying you the bonus each year until you are 50 years old. You can open an account when you are 18, and if you manage to save £4,000 each year, then you would get a total bonus of £33,000. There are only two reasons that you can withdraw the money from a LISA, and these are if you're buying your first home or for retirement after the age of 60. If you withdraw your money for any other reason except those two, then you will be charged 25% of what you have withdrawn. Now you might think that because the bonus is 25%, then what you lose would just put you back at what you originally had before the bonus was paid. This is not the case. If you withdraw money from a LISA for any reason other than the two prescribed ones, then you will lose your bonus as well as an extra 6%. Here's the math, and we're going to ignore interest to make it easier. So if you deposited a maximum of £4,000 and got the bonus, you would have £5,000. You then decide to withdraw it all for shits and gigs and close the account. 25% of £5,000 is £1,250, so you would be left with £3,750. You are £250 worse off than you were when you deposited the money in the first place. This £250 accounts for 6.25% of your initial deposit. So you will lose both your bonus and around an extra 6% if you withdraw your money from a LISA for reasons other than buying your first home or retirement. So really think about that before opening one. When buying your first home, you can use the LISA for residential properties up to a value of £450,000, which is a lot more than the Help to Buy scheme. The LISA also needs to be open for a year before being able to be used to buy your first home. If you're buying your first home with your partner and they also have a LISA, then you can both use your separate LISAs to purchase the same property, thus effectively doubling your bonus, but the maximum property price stays at £450,000 and does not double just because two of you are using your own LISAs. However, if your partner has owned a property before, then they will not be able to use their LISA for the purchase of the home unless they want to withdraw the money and face the penalty fee. Have a look at this table from Money Saving Expert and they compare both the Help to Buy ISA and the Lifetime ISA. Overall, the LISA is a lot better. If you do not intend on buying for a while, but you're saving into a Help to Buy ISA, then consider transferring it over to a LISA. You might benefit more. Myself and my wife have both transferred our Help to Buy ISAs to a LISA, as we don't intend to buy for a few more years, and we can get a higher bonus with the LISA. My Help to Buy ISA is maxed out at £12,000, so I will only get £3,000 of that, but with the LISA I can save more into it and get a bigger bonus. Plus it also broadens the type of properties we can buy, as we are now able to look at places up to £450,000. One thing to bear in mind though if you're in a similar position is that as a LISA has a limit of £4,000 per year, I cannot transfer more than that over in any 1 year. That means it is going to take me up to 3 years to transfer my entire balance over. But in the meantime, whilst that is happening, I can still be saving up in other accounts to help get that deposit as high as I can. Also, whilst you are able to have both a Help to Buy ISA and a LISA open at the same time, you can only use the bonus from one of these when buying your first home. You cannot use both. There are two options to LISAs, and these are a cash lifetime ISA, which is the same as a normal cash ISA but with the rules of a LISA, and a stocks and shares LISA. This type of LISA will invest your money into the stock market, which can be riskier, but the gains can be a lot more. If you're planning on using the LISA as an extra retirement pot, then the stocks and shares option is the best, as your money will likely benefit more from the long period that it is invested for. 60 is when you can start withdrawing money from your LISA without any penalty. You can do this in a huge lump sum or in small bits. It's up to you. A LISA is not a pension though, and in many cases a pension is better, so don't just rely on this for your retirement. If you don't fully understand your armed forces pension, then check out my video on it. I will link it below. Just like the LISA has a stocks and shares option, another type of ISA is also a stocks and shares ISA, also known as an investment ISA. So with the LISA version you get a £4,000 limit, but with the normal stocks and shares ISA you get the full £20,000 ISA allocation to invest if you wanted to. This type of ISA is very different to a cash ISA, which is just a tax-free savings account. The money you deposit into a stocks and shares ISA is invested into funds, bonds or individual companies, and with that comes risk. You only really want to use one of these if you don't need the money in the next 5 years. I'm not going into detail here about the stock market and investing, as I've already covered that in previous videos, which I will link below, so please give them a watch to better understand investing. Having your money in a stocks and shares ISA saves you from paying dividend and capital gains tax. A dividend is when a company you are invested in pays you a portion of their profits for being a shareholder. In the UK, you can get a dividend allowance of £2,000 per year. Anything over that, then you pay tax, unless the dividend is from a stocks and shares ISA. Capital gains tax is what you pay when you sell an asset that has increased in value, and it is the gain that you make which is taxed, not the total amount that you receive. You get a capital gains tax-free allowance of £12,300 each year. Now, you might be thinking that you will have to pay capital gains if you sell your own home and make a profit. Luckily, this is exempt from the tax, providing it is your main residential home. However, if you have multiple properties, then you will pay it if you sell them. And if you invest and make a fat profit and then sell, you would normally have to pay tax on those profits unless you used an ISA. Because this is tax-free, many people, including myself, use a stocks and shares ISA to help fund an extra retirement pot and even use it to be able to retire early. Watch my video, Achieving Financial Freedom Using a Military Career, to see how you could do it and potentially retire well before retirement age on a nice tax-free income of around £14,000 each year. That income, along with your armed forces pension, will give you quite a comfortable retirement, much better than most. Investing can be risky, especially if you don't know what you're doing, but the rewards can be great if you are consistent and don't allow your emotions to control your thinking and decisions. If you are not already, I would seriously consider doing a bit of research and start investing your money. In the current times of inflation rates rising and interest rates lowering, having a load of cash in savings is not doing you any favours, as that money is losing its value. Having money invested over a long period of time tends to beat inflation. The next type of ISA is called an Innovative Finance ISA. This allows you to invest your money tax-free in peer-to-peer lending. Essentially, you are lending your money out to individuals and companies through a lending platform. As with almost every loan, when you repay it, you also pay interest on top of what you borrowed, and this is no different here, except you are the one earning that interest. The lending platform will take their cut of the interest and you will get the rest of it. This type of ISA is great for a high rate of return, but can be risky, as if the lender defaults and doesn't pay back the loan, then you could be out of pocket. Now, except for a cash ISA, which can be opened at 16, the other three have to be opened from 18 onwards. But what about those under 16? This is where the junior ISA comes in. With the 4 different types of ISAs I've just covered, they all come under the ISA allowance of £20,000 per year. However, the junior ISA has its own separate annual allowance, which is £9,000. As the name suggests, this is an ISA for children and can be opened from the day they are born, but control of the ISA lies with the parents or guardians until the child turns 16, at which point they take control of it. However, they are unable to withdraw any money until they turn 18, and this goes for the parents too. Once the money is deposited into the ISA, it becomes the child's money and is untouchable until they turn 18, at which point it becomes a normal adult ISA. A junior ISA can either be a cash ISA or a stocks and shares ISA, and you can open one of each within the same tax year, but that £9,000 allowance would cover them both. It will depend on your risk tolerance as to which one you open for your child. If they are quite young, then an investment ISA might be the better option, as over the long term the stock market rises and will often beat the returns of cash savings. However, if they are getting close to 18, then a cash ISA might be the safer option. If you have a child that was born before January 2011, then they will have a child trust fund. You cannot have both this and a junior ISA open at the same time, but you can transfer the trust fund over to a junior ISA. I've mentioned transferring a few times in this video now, but why would you want to transfer your ISA? Quite simply, to get a better deal and reap the rewards that another provider is offering. There's nothing wrong with transferring to a new provider, but make sure you transfer your balance through the new provider and do not withdraw the money and then deposit it into the new account. This is because if you transfer over the money properly, then your ISA allowance is unaffected, as that money has already been deducted from your allowance when you initially deposit it. But if you withdraw £4,000 from a Help to Buy ISA and then pay it into a LISA, your yearly ISA allowance will go down by £4,000, as it now counts as a new deposit. And this is the same if you withdraw money from an ISA to pay for something. If, for example, you had maxed out your £20,000 allowance in an investment ISA for the year, but your car got written off and you needed a new one, so you sell £2,000 of your investments to go towards the deposit of a new car. Taking that £2,000 out does not then put your allowance back to £18,000. It still stays at £20,000. You will not be able to deposit any more money into your ISA that year to replace what you withdrew. When it comes to ISA providers, most banks and brokerages offer ISAs of various flavours. I bank with Barclays, but they didn't offer a cash LISA, so I transferred my Help to Buy ISA to a cash LISA I set up with Moneybox. And I use Vanguard for both my Stocks and Shares ISA and my little one's Junior Stocks and Shares ISA. I'm not going to tell you who the best providers are and who offer the best rates, as it could change tomorrow. So if you're interested in opening one, do some quick research and compare current providers and get the best deal you can. It doesn't take long. An ISA is great to save money and pay less tax, but from what I said earlier, you need a lot of money saved for it to be worthwhile. So in many cases, a regular savings account might be better than an ISA, as you may never get to the amounts needed to earn more than £1,000 in interest. But that is why it is important to shop around to get the best deal. With a stocks and shares ISA, when you begin, you won't be earning much, but leave it for a long time and be consistently paying into it, and that is where the tax-free benefit really comes in handy, and I plan to use it as an extra income when I retire. I hope that this video has helped you better understand what ISAs are all about. Let me know down in the comments if you have an ISA, or whether or not you're going to be transferring your Help to Buy ISA to a LISA. Thank you all for watching. If you liked what you just saw, please hit the subscribe button up there, and if you want to see some more videos, click over there. See you soon.